Hi YouTube! I am back with another cosplay tutorial. Somebody on my TikTok page recommended that I do Lute. From Husband Hotel. I already cosplayed Lute, but I haven't done her in a hot minute anyway, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first is of course our skin prep. I personally just go in with a moisturizer. I use this Equate Beauty Gentle Skin Cream. So sorry. It looks like this. As you can see, it is quite used. I love this moisturizer. It's kind of heavy, I guess. It's not like awful or anything like that. Like, it doesn't feel greasy or anything like that, but I will mention it's decently heavy on the face at least. And also going down your neck because new I'm so sorry. I don't know why I keep stuttering so much on camera. But Lute has these like kind of design kind of thing down her neck. I've seen different people do it. I've seen people make it into like turtlenecks and they paint it onto the fabric. I've seen people do chainmail with it, which is also really cool. I personally just use some face paint for it. Although, new exciting thing about my Lute cosplay, hence why I wanted to do her today, I have a new dress for her. Before, I used to use this like gray dress that had black stripes on it, obviously not her canon dress, but now I have this full black dress that looks almost like kind of identical to the one she actually has on. So I'm very excited to try it out today. Now I know her dress is gray, but I mean, like, hey, when have I ever actually worried about being canon, you know? I personally never care about it, so anyway, I'm sorry for ranting. Next, we're going in with the Milani Clean Start Prep Step Facial Mist. I sort of do this, it's not, for me, I try to treat sprays like this, like setting spray almost, to help lock in certain steps, and makeup has a lot of layers, so I tend to use sprays a lot, so with my skin prep, I kind of just use this to lock in the moisturizer. Next, we're using this Maybelline New York Grippy Serum as our primer of choice. Next, for our face paint of choice, we're going in with this Babasuka white face paint like jug. I personally love this thing. Now, a little trick I used, and what I do is I mix a very light foundation in with the face paint so it doesn't feel as heavy on my face. The foundation we're using is the LA Colors Truly Matte Long Wearing High Pigment Foundation. As far as I can see, this doesn't really have like a shade on it, but this is what it looks like. As you can tell, very light. I've actually used this quite a lot, so we're just going to get like a pump or two in there, and then you take a brush and just mix it in until it looks white enough while also being a more creamy texture. Once you have it mixed in with your brush, you're kind of just going to apply it everywhere. I just have a few focus points that I try to apply the most foundation on, kind of like towards the middle of my face. And I also try to put a lot in my eyebrows so I can kind of draw on new ones. I no longer have my little brow comb thing anymore, so I can't glue down my eyebrows, because that's what I always use to glue down my eyebrows, so we're just running with it this time. So this is really where I place all of the face paint foundation combo. Like I said, just kind of around my face on a few focus points, and doing it all down my neck and chest. Now it is time to blend it out. So this is what it looks like all blended out. Obviously it's a little bit less pigmented because of the foundation we mixed in there, but I still feel like it gets the job done. And now it still feels like it's like regular foundation. And I've tried out those like white foundation kind of things where it's just meant to be like a regular foundation formula, but it's white. And it never seems to work out for me. Personally, it's just not pigmented enough. You have to add like 3 layers on to get a good base, to get this kind of base. So, I mean, I would rather just use the face paint at that point. Next, we're using my Laterite painting palette with all my face paints. I'm personally just going to add some more foundation into this gray color right here for the contour. So this is our contour placement for Lute, and I also added some just along my collarbones. Not really in any specific way, I really just outlined them. And then now it's time to blend it out. Now, I will mention, for the spots like my jawline, forehead, eyes, and cheeks, and collarbone, I'm going to be using a beauty blender, but for my nose and lips, I'm going to be using a brush to blend it out. So this is what our contour looks like all blended out. I know the nose is a little bit muddy. Now it is time, we're going to go back in with our white face paint, and we're just going to put it in very specific spots to act as a highlighter slash concealer. So this is our placement of our highlighter slash concealer. I really just put it on the spots where I would regularly put concealer. Don't know what that is. Anyway, moving on. Time to blend it out with our beauty blender. I will mention for the nose, I'm probably just going to tap this in because I really like sharp nose contour. I love it so much. So this is what everything looks like all blended out together. Now it is time to go in with our setting powder. I'm personally using this NYX Professional Makeup HD Studio finishing powder for mine. So let me get my powder puff and clean up a little bit, and then we'll get into it. So we're mostly focusing on the under eyes and eyelids, and we want to try to keep this like C shape we have going on in the inner corners. So I'm putting a lot of setting powder there to help keep that shape. See? And then now we're going to do the same to the other eye. And now we're going to put some setting powder just on the tip and ridge of our nose right here. Not too much. And then we're just going to focus some setting powder in the main spots of our face. Over here. And then I personally hate when my makeup creases, especially because I have smile lines. So I like to focus a lot of setting powder right here. And we're going to put some on the forehead. And then for the rest of it, we're just going to end up using this NYX finishing powder like this, and I'm just going to use a brush for it and just pack a whole bunch on. Next, what we're doing is we're taking some setting powder on our powder puff right here, and we're going down the sides of the nose like that to help slim it down. Not too much, just enough to make it look kind of naturally slimmer. And then we're also going to focus a little bit more setting powder around the inner corners. And then while we let this kind of like set in and bake just a little bit, I know I don't have a lot on, but still, we're going to be going in with our powdered contour, and I am going to add a little bit of blush for Lute. So for our contour, we're using this Chic Glam Glitz Out palette. I can't really show you because one of the glitters in it is in a whole bunch of clumps, and it's one of my favorite glitters, so I don't want to like knock it out, but you can kind of see right here this one is broken, but we're using this gray right here for our contour. I spilled a little, my bad. I love the palette too much to give it up though. So for our contour, we're just going where we put it before, just lightly tapping it in. And obviously it's a pretty light gray, so you can add more if you feel necessary. Oh wow. I think there might be some leftover pigment on this brush. I don't know how I didn't see that. But it looks decent. We'll just blend it out later. Believe it or not, I actually kind of like this. So we're just going to leave it. And then now we're going to take some contour onto the forehead and just tap it into place like we did before. I'm trying not to move it around too much because of the leftover pigment. I don't want it to be too dark. Okay, now we're going to blend this part out. Then for our nose and lips contour, we're using this brush right here and just grabbing some more of the gray and following along with what we did before, adding shadows into places where there weren't shadows before. See, look at that, it makes my lips look bigger. And it looks a little bit weird right now, but I promise once we get like our lipstick and stuff on, it's gonna look better. Then for nose, we follow along exactly what we did before, blending into the eyebrows. I love making my nose look tiny. And I don't even have like that big of a nose, or at least I don't think so. At least from the front, I don't. But from the side, I have my dad's nose. Or at least I think I do. Then again, he also broke his nose when he was younger, so. I know, obviously, that wouldn't correlate to me, but like. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't know. I might be talking nonsense. I didn't get much sleep last night. I was up late cosplaying somebody else. Which, I mean, if you've been on my page before, you know was Queen Beelzebub from Has-Been. Or Has been? No, hello boss. What am I doing? What am I saying? I'd just be saying anything, I swear. Fake fan over here. Ow, I just poked myself in the eye. Next, we are doing eyebrows. So I'm taking this very small, sharp angled brush. I mean, this thing is thin like crazy. When I turn it like that, it's like paper. You can barely even see it. We're taking this black in the Glitch Out She Glam palette. Now, I have to be very careful with this, especially because I want very sharp, like kind of arched, angled eyebrows. So I have to be careful. I'm going to try to do it in this camera instead of a mirror. There we go. I like that. We're just doing basic lines for now. This one's going a little bit thicker now that I know what I'm doing. And now we're just going to try to make them look as asymmetrical as possible. So here is the finished look for the eyebrows. I personally like them. I really like doing sharp angled eyebrows, kind of like that. I don't know why, I feel like it just like heightens the makeup look, if that makes sense. Alright, next thing we're going to do is, I'm going to do this off camera, but I'm basically just going to take a lot of setting powder, and I'm just going to press it into the eyebrows like that to make sure it doesn't move around any, because this is a very pigmented black eyeshadow, so I want to try to make it like as matte as possible so it doesn't move. Okay, next for blush, I've seen some people using yellow for a lip blush, but I'm worried that won't look good, plus I don't have very many yellows to use. So I'm actually going to be using this very kind of light pink, and I'm only using a little bit. This is the Makeup Forever Professional Paris palette. I love this one. So we're just going to take a little bit of pink, not a whole lot. And we're going to focus it like right up here. And bring it up, because one thing I like about Lou is like she has like pretty chubby cheeks, but her features, or at least the features I like to use while cosplaying her, are very like sharp and angled, and that's something I really like because it makes her look threatening, you know, and that is kind of part of her character as an exorcist and everything. She's kind of meant to look threatening, at least a little, especially after Adam's very unfortunate death. She kind of loses her mind for a little bit, so. And then we're just going to take this brush and blend it out just a little bit. I just realized, I just realized that this white isn't even that far off from my natural complexion. Look, I do online learning. I don't go outside, okay? I haven't touched the grass in years. Golly, my teeth look yellow. Well then, anyway. Moving on, let me clean up a little bit, and then we get to go into the fun stuff. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is I'm going back into my Makeup Forever palette, and I'm using this very wrung out white, and we're going to touch up the C shape a little bit more. See, look at that difference. There's not much of a difference, but you can kind of tell that one side is more highlighted than the other. And honestly, there's probably a couple steps in my routine that really don't need to be included that I like doing anyway. You know, it's just fun. Honestly, I don't really plan on doing that much eyeshadow for Lou. I plan on just doing a little bit of black and gray around the outer corners, and then just doing some like transparent like glitter, like some white glitter and stuff like that. So really all I'm doing is I'm taking this dark gray with this brush, and I'm just kind of going along the outside like this, almost mimicking where you would put like eyeliner. Excuse me, eyeliner. And I'm probably going to speed this part up just because it's so awkward it's awkward when I'm editing this and I just have to sit through the huge sections where it's just quiet for no reason. But basically, this is all we're doing. Now I'm just going to do this to the other eye. Just like this. It's kind of giving the old raccoon kind of highlighter that like Avril Lavigne used to do. But don't worry, we're going to add more, so it's not going to stay like this forever. Or, I guess don't worry, some people do their eyeliner like that now and it suits them. I personally don't believe it suits me, so we're adding more eyeliner. Trust. Next, we're taking this brush, and I'm using the black in the Makeup Forever palette. And I'm very careful with this part. We're going into the inner corners again. And this time we're gonna try to like drag it out just a little bit. Just because eyeshadow is always a good practice for when you're just learning eyeliner. Look at that difference. And then now we're just going to repeat it to the other side. Now what I'm doing is I'm going into this Sephora Mini Mix palette right here. And I'm using this white glitter. And I'm just going to put it all over the eyelid, transparent, so it's not super pigmented. Honestly, it might not even pick up that well on camera. But I like doing it, the subtle shimmers. I can't speak. I'm so sorry. Although I have an excuse for it, okay? My mom has a lisp, and obviously being around her a lot, especially now that I'm homeschooled, I pick up the way she talks, okay? So it's not even my fault, it's my mom's. And it's not even her fault, it's her lisp, okay? So I say shit wrong because there's a history of lisps and stutters and shit in my family. I don't know if I have one. I don't think I do, but I've been around people that do have stutters and lisps. So, when I was very young. So, learning child. That's why I randomly talk with a southern accent sometimes. Like, whenever I get passionate or tired or mad about something, I start talking like I'm a cowboy because my mom does it too. So, it's not my fault, okay? Don't judge. I have chocolate chips right here I'm eating. My mom would probably be mad at me if she knew I was just eating chocolate chips raw, but she doesn't need to know, okay? So for eyeliner, we're using this 3D waterproof precision eyeliner. This is a stick. It doesn't really have a brand on it. I don't think so, but it did come with this mascara I got. I honestly didn't even know. I thought I was just getting this mascara, but I got an eyeliner too, and it was very worth it. I love this one. So I'm probably going to speed this part up again, but this is what it looks like, and we're just going in and kind of following what we did before. Just like that, just following exactly what we did, just making it look a little bit sharper, and then we're doing this to the other eye. Next, we're taking this eyeliner and being very careful, especially because we have white face paint on. We're going into the inner corners and drawing a wing like that out. Very simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Don't overdo it because it can go wrong very fast. I'm going to do this to the other eye. Next, we're doing lashes. We're using this Me Kiwi palette right here full of these spiky anime lashes. I personally love these ones. So lashes are pretty easy once you get the hang of it. I like to do this kind of shape a lot to round it a little bit. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your lash glue and put not a thick strand, but not a thin strand either. And you're going to just put it on the lash line. And then you're going to wait at least 30 seconds. And what I like to do during that time is I shake it a little bit and I blow on it, and then I do that circular shape I was doing a minute ago. Also, I think I mentioned this before, but with me speeding up so many parts, like I'm about to do when I put the lashes on, obviously you can just go into like the YouTube settings on the video and slow it down if you need to, if I'm going too fast. I just try to keep the videos short because it's really annoying to edit 50-minute long videos and try to get them down to 30 without cutting out anything important. Hence why I start speeding up things like doing the lips and the eyeliner and the lashes. But absolutely feel free to slow down the video if you need to. No rush at all. Alright. Oh my god, they're rage baiting me. I swear these lashes are so cute when you can get them to cooperate properly. They just don't like to. See? There we go. Just like that. Very cute. They might need some more touch-ups because they're trying to lift off. But this is basically what we want it to look like. And here is the finished look with our lashes on. Why is it asymmetrical? It's bugging me. There we go, that's better. I hate it when my lashes are asymmetrical. Next, we're going in with our Cobest black lip liner. I personally love this. We're gonna outline our lips. And we're gonna go a little bit bigger, almost where the shadow is, but we don't want to cover the shadow completely in black eyeliner. You'll see why. See, just like that. And the shadow helps make the lips look a little bit more realistic. Next, we're using this Spirit Halloween lipstick to fill it in. And then, next thing we're doing is, I don't actually know what brand this lipstick is. It doesn't have any sort of a label on it. It just says 30 makeup on the bottom. But we're using it, and I personally like it a lot. It's just very scary. Just like that. So this is our finished Lute makeup. I just lied. We still have to do the neck, so give me 1 second to pull my face paint back out, and then we'll do the neck. Okay, basically we're just taking our gray face paint we used earlier and kind of smothering our neck in it. And then I'm going to do this kind of swoop thing at the bottom. Stupid collarbones getting in the way. It's not even, but it doesn't really matter. Right, let me get my beauty blender and we're gonna blend this out. Okay, next we're taking our white face paint brush and getting some paint on it, and then we're just doing our swoopy thing. Just like that. And then continue it down our entire neck. Just like that. Then I'm gonna smother this in setting powder and get dressed, and then I'll come back and show you the fully completed look. So here is the finished look for Lou. Here's the new dress I got, all black for her, and this is the wig and the halo. I know the wings aren't that great. I need to make them better, but you know, I'm poor, alright? And then I also have her boots. I don't even know if you can see them right now, but I have her boots. And now, if you found this tutorial helpful or just like the video, like and subscribe please. It would really help me out. And I'm gonna go film. Bye!